everybody, this is Tarina from Create with Tree, that's me. And,
hold on for a second.
Okay, sorry. We're gonna try this
Go
again.
live now. Your entire video will be posted on live progress. Yes, go live.
Hey.
Is it frozen now? Try now.
Hey everybody, it's Tarina with Create with Tree, that's me. And I'm coming to you live from my kitchen on Hometalk. And my cameraman today is Trevor. Say hey to Trevor.
Hello.
Okay, so today's project we are going to make a wind chime. And I'm going to show, this is a wind chime that I made last week. And it's just from a wine bottle. And so that is going to be today's project. There's a few things that you just need to know. I'm going to make a little disclaimer. Don't let children do this project because we are using some flammable liquid and some fire. So I just want to make sure that nobody is going to get in trouble with mom and dad for trying this project without them. The first thing we're going to need, and actually this idea came because at Thanksgiving, I had all these leftover bottles, and I want to grab one really quick. I put it in the freezer. I want to grab it really quick. We had all these leftover bottles, and I didn't want to throw them away, but I didn't know what to do with them. And so it kind of came to me to make them wind chimes. So I put the bottle in the freezer for at least 5 minutes. It's very, very cold, so you're going to want to make sure that you have a towel or some gloves to handle it. And then I got this bottle cutter. It's a little misleading because honestly, the bottle cutter just scores the bottle. And so this is a G2 bottle cutter, and I got it at Hobby Lobby. You could get it from Hobby Lobby or even from Amazon. I'm not going to give you the specifics of how to set it up. The instructions are pretty good, but I'm just going to show you how I used it to score the bottle. And again, this is really cold, so make sure you're using a towel or something. You're going to take, this has a little blade in it, and you're going to just turn it so you can kind of hear, I don't know, I'm going to be quiet for a second. Can you hear that? It's just scoring the bottle, and you just want to make sure you're going all the way around it. This is not going to cut the bottle. You're just making a score. And I want to make sure, ooh, that is really cold. So if you're joining us, make sure you're letting us know where you're calling from, or where you're joining us from. And we're in California. And I was just talking to our awesome producer, Evelyn, and she said that it's really cold in New York. And I've heard that the weather in a lot of different places is really cold. I'm not going to brag, but it's 70 degrees in California. So, so tell us what the weather is, where you're at, and Trevor, let us know where people are joining us from.
Arkansas, South Dakota, Alabama,
Arkansas.
Illinois.
Oh, how's the weather out there? Are you guys cold? I know my daughter-in-law and son live in Missouri, and it's been pretty cold. So, all right. So we've got a cold bottle. We've got some cotton thread or yarn, or not yarn. It's cotton rope, and it's pretty thin. You can see how thin that is. You're going to take a length of this cotton rope, and I don't know if you can see this, but I've got a score line that I went all the way around that bottle. Oh man, this is really cold. So I'm going to make sure that I can wrap this, this length of rope around the bottle at least 6 or 7 times. And I hope everybody had a great Hanukkah and a great Christmas. I'm looking forward to New Year's.
And Kwanzaa.
And Kwanzaa, and anything else you celebrate. So I'm just going to take a length of this rope. And so I've done this a couple of different ways. I've done this with acetone, And my husband suggested alcohol, so rubbing alcohol, not vodka, rubbing alcohol. It won't ruin my nails with the rubbing alcohol. So I kind of like that a little better, but you can use acetone, which is essentially just fingernail polish remover. So you can show them this really quick, Travis. I'm just soaking the rope in a bowl of the rubbing alcohol. And then I'm just going to take it out, kind of squeeze it. You don't want it dripping. I'm going to set this aside. We may have to use this again. If it doesn't crack and come apart the first time, then we have to do the steps a couple times. So I'm going to take and I'm going to wrap this. So here's the score line. I'm just going to go right above the score line and wrap the bottle with the thread or with the rope. And I appreciate everybody coming and joining us today. If you like this, make sure you're sharing it on your Facebook page so your friends can see it. I would really appreciate that. And I appreciate being able to come to you guys from Hometalk today. I love doing DIY. I'm always trying to find something else to do with all the things. I like to recycle. I love to do DIY, and this just really lent itself to being something fun. So you can see there's the score line right here, and I wrapped it around. Oh man, that is really cold. Freezing my hands off. So I've just wrapped it around. This is soaked. So I'm going to bring this over just in case we have to. We're going to come to my kitchen sink, and Trev, you can show this really fast. I put in water, and it's cold water, and then I added a bunch of ice before we started shooting. This is just a lighter, and I'm going to light, again, this is why I said that, make sure that you're an adult. Don't let your kids do this unsupervised. This is just a lighter. The alcohol will light on fire, and you want to do this over a kitchen sink or some kind of water. But you can see how the alcohol on that is lighting on fire. Fire. And you just want to kind of go like this. You kind of hold it up. And it's going to heat up that score line. And I'm really kind of glad that my husband did suggest that we use the alcohol because the alcohol burns longer. And the acetone, I ended up having to do multiple times. See, now that went out, but it's still wet. So I'm going to use the lighter again and kind of it'll catch on fire again. There we go. And it's still on fire. I can see it. I don't know if you can see the little blue flames, but you're heating up that score line. So now it's out. So this is cold. Oh, you hear it? Now watch this. You hear it pop? Okay, and I'm just going to kind of like wiggle it. Yay! It worked! Yay! I love it when it works the first time. But if it doesn't work the first time, what you're going to do is just take some of the alcohol and with a paintbrush and just paint it along this rope and then light it on fire again. And then do the same thing. A couple times it took me about 3 times before I got it right. Now I'm going to also tell you these are very sharp. This is very sharp.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying you should wear gloves and goggles.
You know what? I have not. I mean, if you can, I've done this a few times, and if you have gloves, I would wear gloves. But I'm very, very careful. I'm taking some. Sandpaper. Thank you. It's been a long morning already. Also, I have a set of pliers. Let me grab my pliers real quick. If there's any really sharp pieces, and you can see my hands aren't really ever near the cut glass, but if there's any really sharp pieces, I can kind of like pry these off because it's going to cut at that score line. Okay. So I just wanted there was a little sharp piece I wanted off. Okay. So now I'm going to take, this is for glass, this sandpaper is for glass, and I'm just going to go along. Again, I'd probably, this piece right here, if I had more time, I'd probably take a little more time and use my pliers to get that off. But I'm just going to show you for purposes of the time that we have. I'm going to take this is rough sandpaper, and I'm going to go through and really sand this down. And I'm just going to show you this. I actually have one ready to go, but you're going to really use this rough sandpaper. And you can find ones that are really good to work with glass at the hardware store. And then this is a finer, this is a 120 grit. And you're going to come back and this is going to fine sand it. And again, be really, really, really careful. I go in like this. And then out like this. And then I'm going to cut, once everything is done, I'm going to cut this off, and then we're ready to go and decorate. So that's how you break the bottle. So I hope everybody liked that. We're going to come back over here real quick, and I already have 2 bottles that are ready to go.
Right.
See?
Don't forget to share this video so everyone else can watch it.
Yes, please share. On this bottle that I did up here, I actually used the Armor Etch and the transfers from Chocator. These are silk screens from Chocator. And on my last project, I showed you how to use the Armor Etch. I really wanted to do something different, and so what I found, I'm going to set this aside. What I found was some glass paint, and I want to show you how I used some of the glass paint. These are Deco Art Americana gloss enamels, and I got these on Amazon. I just got a starter kit. Nothing, I didn't get, I just wanted some bright, fun colors. So I'm going to use these today. And
can you remind everyone what you're making?
Today, sorry. We're making a wind chime out of a wine bottle. And I made this one for my other son, Trevor's my youngest son. And my other son, Logan, wanted this for his room. And I just used an old wine bottle that I had and some crystals and some other fun stuff. So this one right here is ready to go. And again, I've sanded it down, made sure there's no sharp edges. And I'm going to use the glossy enamels from Deco Art. Because this is green and I thought it was super fun, and St. Patrick's Day is coming up, I thought I would use some shamrocks. And these are super cute. So I'm just going to lay them across the glass. Just like this. And I'm going to make sure that it's pushed down nice and tight, getting a good seal on the screen. And you can see that? Nice seal on that screen. And you could do it one of 2 ways. You can either take a paintbrush and paint it on, or you can take a squeegee. I'll show you the different ways we can do this. I'm going to take the squeegee and just, sorry, we're in my kitchen and I can hear my dog. So if you can hear my puppy, she's having a drink. Now this is a little thinner than the chalks that I use on different projects. And so you're going to kind of go a little thicker. And I can hear her. I'm just making a nice thick coat of the paint. Just a nice coverage. Making it nice and smooth. Try not to get any lines. And then I'm going to just pull this off. I love that. That's so cool. That's some great detail. That's really cute. And then I'm going to set this, and this paint does not hurt the transfers at all. I'm just going to sit it in water and rinse it off, and I'll come back and I'll really clean that later. But just make sure that you put it in water. And then I'm going to come back, and I want to do a couple things on the back side here. So I have a couple other. So I'll show you how I can do it, not just with the squeegee, but with a paintbrush. So I'm just going to add a couple different transfers to the back. Again, thanks so much for joining us. I'm really excited to be here. And if you are joining us, make sure you let us know that you're here. Say hi and where you're from. Those are cute. I think I'm going to put this big one on the bottom. What do you think? That's a good one.
Probably look better with the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. And make sure you share. We love the shares. It's like a big old warm hug. So I'm just going to take just a little paintbrush.
Someone wants to know, where'd you buy the silk transfers?
They are from Chocolatour, and we'll make sure that you get my website so you can order these. This is off the Vintage Truck add-on set, but there's also other ones that you can use. There's so many. We have so many, and I've done this project a couple different times with a bunch of different transfers, but I'll make sure that you get the website. See, and I just make a nice clean coat. Look at that. That's pretty.
The page link should be in the comments, so make sure to like that, and you should be able to get to a link to go to these websites.
Awesome. And I think that the list of all of the supplies will also have those too.
And yes, the transfers are reusable.
Yes, they are. You can wash them and reuse them over and over. I've used some of them more than, well, actually I did just one. I did a project for Christmas. And I used it over 60 times. But I know for a fact you can use them more than 20 times. I'm going to add a couple more, and then we will be done with this. Couple more. Oh, I like this so much. Here's my paintbrush again. The paintbrush really helps for the smaller pieces. Okay. And I just love the detail. I love the detail that the silk screens make. Isn't that great? It's perfect. I love it. All right, and again, I'm going to make sure that I put this in water so that I just kind of rinse them off in the water. Because I have this filled, I'm not going to wash them off in the sink right this second, but I'll come back to it and make sure I wash off my brush. And they wash up real nice. Okay. So once this is dry, actually, I'll hold on for just a second. I need to grab my, you could use a blow dryer, or you can, I use a heat gun. My husband got me a heat gun. This is probably the best gift he could ever have bought me. I'm just going to use a heat gun to set this real quick. Again, thank you again for joining us, and make sure you let us know where you're from if you have any questions. And make sure you're sharing. The paint dries pretty quickly, but the instructions say to make sure you let it dry 4 hours, or 4 days, sorry, 4 days. It cures in 4 days, and then if you were to just be doing this on your own, before taking and putting the centerpiece in, you would bake it, and the instructions are on here to make it permanent, that you would set it outside. For time purposes, we're not going to do that. We're gonna decorate this and put a centerpiece in. So I just used
And everyone can do this project. It's fairly easy.
It really is.
There is a bunch of instructions from hobby stores, and it's fairly easy. I've done one actually.
Yeah. I teach my kids DIY too. So it's kind of nice. So I got some, this is Soft Touch Soft Flex, and this is actually wire. It's pretty cool. And you can tie it and bend it. I did get the kind that holds up to 26 pounds. And we went to the hobby store and we just got a bunch of blingy things. And I just put the wire through the blingy things. I made sure it was the length that I wanted. Most of wind chimes always has like a weight at the bottom. You could use wood for this piece, whatever you are wanting. And I just strung it on there, and then I'm going to string it through the top. It's easier said than done because it's normally wire. Be smarter than the wire piece. I did this the other day. No, that won't work. What did I use?
Can you remind everyone who we are and what we're doing?
Oh, my name is Tarina from Create with Tree, that's me. And we are making wind chimes out of wine bottles. And Trevor is my camera guy.
Hello.
And we are on Hometalk today, teaching you how to do this. I love taking things and turning them into something else. Waste not, want not, something my grandma taught me.
Such a true statement.
It is a true statement. I love to recycle, and so there we go. We've got that in there. See, I love this flexible wire. This stuff is amazing. The transfers that I'm using today are from Couture. They are silk screens, and they're very versatile. We're using Deco Art gloss enamels to make all these beautiful pieces permanent. This gloss enamel paint is specifically for glass. So I have a piece of the cork that I'm just going to, and I did drill a hole through it. I'm going to push the wire, the flexible wire, maybe, through it. I did drill a hole earlier, thinking that I was planning ahead. You might have to make the hole a little bigger.
For some people who tuned in late, how'd you cut the bottle?
I used fire. I scored the glass, and then I soaked some rope in alcohol, and then wrapped it around the score line, and then we used fire to heat it up, and then we soaked it in an ice bath, and it cracked the glass. So I'm going to just make sure that, see, now we're at the decorating stages. So I'm going to put some E6000, since it's not working to put the thing through the center. I did drill a hole, but it's not going to really matter. I love E6000. It's fantastic for multiple reasons, but one, it's permanent once it dries. So I'm going to put some E6000 around the base of this cork. There we go. Let's set that aside. And I'm going to make sure where my little piece in the center, where I want it to be, and that's good. Hold my wire at the top here. And then I'm going to place this cork right there. There we go. I won't cut this until it's dried. And then I have a hook that I'm going to screw into the top. I did put some E6000 on this too. It's almost like when you're working with wood, I use the E6000 kind of like wood glue for everything else. It just kind of makes it secure so that when you screw in screws or whatever, it's going to make sure it stays put once it's dry. You could also use eyelets or whatever. I just happen to have these hooks on hand and it worked really well for me. You can now from here you can add, look at that, isn't that pretty?
And the materials for this whole project are going to be pinned in the comments.
Yes. There's my website will be in the will be pinned, and everything you need to make this is going to be in the comments, pinned at the top. So, anybody have any questions? I have another bottle. If we have a few minutes, I can show you. We could do this again really fast for those coming in late. I have another bottle. This is a little thinner, and this cracked really fast. This was really nice. Again, I just used, this is another silk screen that I love. These are the feathers, and you're just going to put them across the bottle. Nice seal. And make sure if you love this that you're going to share it with your friends and
someone
family.
asked, did you crimp the wire at the bottom of the stone?
Crimp the wire. Actually, I tied it and glued it at the bottom of the stones. You can see the tie. Because this is flexible wire, I couldn't crimp it. I know what you're talking about, but because this is flexible wire, I couldn't do that. But it's really great for, you could tie it, and that's what I loved about it. And it holds up to 26 pounds. There's ones that I found that hold 10 and 15 pounds, but I got the one that was heavier just in case. So again, I just laid the silk screen transfer across the bottle, and I'm just going to use, oh, I don't know, let's use yellow just for the heck of it. And
would this work with a beer bottle?
You know what? I think it would work with any glass bottle. I do have some old-fashioned Coke bottles that we are going to be trying that with as well. I'm really excited. So you could work with any. I know I've seen other people crack glass on like vodka bottles. These just happen to be sparkling cider bottles, because we had the sparkling cider at Thanksgiving, and we had about 10 bottles.
A lot
left over. And again, I just didn't want to waste them. I didn't, I could recycle them, but this is a way cooler way to recycle. Look at the detail of the silk screen. I really love that. And again, I'm just going to wait until that dries. I'm going to put this right in water so I can, I'll wash that up later. Let's see, I love that. And again, anybody have any questions for me? I'm so excited to answer questions.
Would acrylic paint work on this?
Okay, so this is essentially acrylic paint, but it's glossy and it has something in it that makes it permanent for glass. Acrylic paint, though, the regular acrylic paint, because you're supposed to bake this on the glass to make it permanent, I don't think regular acrylic paint would work for a long term. If you're not going to put it out in the elements, the idea is that this is a wind chime and you want to hang it outside. It wouldn't last if you got any water on it. It might fade, the regular acrylic paint. This, once you bake it in the oven, it becomes permanent and it won't fade. Well, it says it won't fade, and it won't come off. I've done a couple of these, and so far so good. They have not peeled or anything. But a regular acrylic paint, once you get it wet, over time, it would probably peel and crack. So,
And someone asked, where'd you got the silk screens?
from Chocateur. I'm a Chocateur designer, and my link for my my website will be in the comments. But you can also find me on Facebook, Create with Tree, that's me. Any other questions?
How'd you, can you use, or is this glass etching?
Okay, no, this is not glass etching. This was glass etching. I'll show you the difference. So I'm going to come back over here. So I did glass etch, like the last project that we did. This was done with the glass etching, and I used Armor Etch on this. And then I used the Rub and Buff to color the etched areas. Yeah. And this was really cool. I kind of two-toned this. I used the blue, and then it looks like I silver leafed it at the top. It's pretty cool. And then you can see that I used silver on this. Yeah, so this was done. This was glass etched. I just thought it would be fun to do something completely different with today's project. And I just used some wire to make a hanger. And I'll do that. Once this is all dry, I'll do the same thing. I'll make a wire hanger for that as well. So.
And someone asked, for putting it in the oven, do you put it at like a regular temperature, or how long do you put it in for?
On the paint, it has instructions on how to make it permanent. And I would follow all the directions. It says 325 for 30 minutes on it. But I would follow the directions on the bottle to make sure that you get a nice seal on the paint.
Someone asked, where'd you get the Rub and Buff?
The Rub and Buff I got on Amazon, and I bought it in a... I love starter kits because if I don't love it, I can send it back. But I love the Rub and Buff. The Rub and Buff is awesome, and I think I got it in a 12-pack, and it was like a sample pack. So I know there's some of the Rub and Buffs are big, but these are a little goes a long way. So I really love these. And like I said, it came in a pack like this. It had 12 pieces in it, and a bunch of different colors. And it was just on Amazon.
Another question, can you cut square bottles?
Yeah, you can. You can cut any, like I said, the old-fashioned Coca-Cola bottle that I'm working on, I think when you're using the scorer, you just have to be, just go slow around the bottle when you're going around that corner. And you might get a couple little edges that you might have to file a little more. Okay. Well, I really appreciate everybody joining us today. Again, my name is Tarina with Create with Tree, that's me. And this has been my project, making wine bottle wind chimes. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.